G'day guys, and welcome back to another One Piece deck profile. Today we're going to be checking out one of my favorite decks, deck I've probably been playing the most in this format, and that is our good friend Zoro. So Zoro, red leader, 5,000 power, starts you with 5 life, fairly standard. The effect, for those that don't know, is Don times 1, your turn, all of your characters gain 1,000 power, which is wild. So what that means is we can have a bunch of little weenies, weak guys out there that can get buffed quite easily from Zoro, which is basically Zoro's playstyle. You want to go wide, you want to try to rush down your opponent as quick as you can, and that buff there does help quite a lot. Zoro is a pretty good pick as well because it has a fairly good matchup into all the decks that are running around right now. And generally you don't mind going first or second as well, which is also really handy for Zoro. So a nice all-rounder deck there. Having said that as well, with the turn order, the only decks you really want to try and go second against are the Whitebeard and the Kinemon matchups. They prefer that going second with their Don ramping and with their characters they want to play, that sort of stuff. So preferably you want to go second against those. The others doesn't really matter. First, maybe for most of them. So we heard everyone's feedback on our Smoker deck profiles. Thank you so much for those that did comment and leave some feedback there. And you preferred that kind of style of deck profile where we group things together as to why you would play them rather than give you a deck profile that goes through things going by cost. So we'll start off with our searches. The first searcher that we are running for Nami, which is a 1 cost, 2,000 body, 1,000 counter. On play, you can look at the top 5 cards of your deck, add a Straw Hat Crew type character other than Nami, so you can't search itself, and then the rest go to the bottom of the deck in any order. So there are a whopping 22 targets in the deck that Nami can find, which is absolutely insane. The other searcher that we are running the Curly Dedan. So 2 cost, 3,000 power, 1,000 counter. On play, you can look up to the top 5 cards of your deck, reveal 1 red character with a cost of 1, add it to your hand, the rest go to the bottom of the deck. So Dedan has a whopping 18 targets in the deck, and between these two searches here, there are only 7 cards in the deck that cannot be searched, which makes Zoro really consistent, which is another great reason to go ahead and run with Zoro. Next, we're going to have a look at the cards that are mainly just used to try and aggress, attack your opponent's leader, attack those characters you don't want to swing at you again. And the first is a weenie, because we spoke about Zoro loving weenies, is the Sunny-kun, the promo, which is a 1 cost at 3,000 power, 1,000 counter vanilla. It is searchable off both the Curly and the Nami. And with Zoro's effect, you can automatically a 4,000 power, which is insane. So you just need to pop 1 Don underneath so you can start swinging at leader. And Sunny-kun can also be buffed by a few other characters, which we'll talk about in just a moment. The next card that we use for that aggression is the Rush Zoro from set 1. So 3 cost to 5,000 power rush card. Super valuable because it is a 5,000 body. With Zoro, it's a 6,000 body, so yeah, you swing into a lot of things there, applying a lot of pressure with leader swings as well. The last card that we're running, it's mainly in there for that aggression. We are running 3 of the promo Luffy, the promo 6 Luffy. So 3 cost, 3,000 power, 2,000 counter, which is a reason why I have this one in the version that I'm running right now. The effect is Don times 2, your turn, this character gains 4,000 power. So with the 2 Don underneath, it's going to be 7,000. With Zoro's effect, it's going to be 8,000, which is absolutely huge. And the main reason why I'm running this in my deck is because it helps quite a lot in the Whitebeard matchup. Getting up to the 8,000 fairly easily is really good. It is fairly susceptible to some removal like your Vistas and your Nico Robins. So do be mindful of that. And I guess like this is probably, these 3 cards are the flex spots in the deck. You don't have to run these if you can't get your hands on these, or if you'd like to run some other things. Spoiler alert, we're not running any like defensive options in the deck. So you can swap these out for, say, 3 choppers or 3 radical beams. And there are a few other cards that we are running 3 of that you can maybe swap them out for that, just to add a bit of consistency. One of them being the Dedan. You can drop one of these to run the 4th Curly Dedan. Next up, we're going to be having a look at cards that help us buff the characters that we already have in play. The first of which is the Makino. We're running 4 Makino, 1 cost, no power, 2000 counter, so great to have in hand just for that fact there. Main effect is activate. On main, you may rest this character up to one of your red characters with a cost of 1, gains 3000 power during the turn. So Makino can buff our Nami, can buff our Sunny-kun, can buff our Otama, can also buff our Gordon, and can also buff our Magura. So plenty of targets, can also buff herself as well if there's another one out there on the field. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 targets that Makino can buff, which is absolutely wild. There are plenty of times, let me tell you, that I have had an Otama out and I need 1 extra swing to win. I have a couple of these Makinos in my hand, play them out. Otama sitting at 6,000, Zoro 7,000, swinging for game off Otama. The next card that we're running that helps us buff is one we've just had a little sneak peek at, is the Magura. So 1 cost, 2000 power, 1000 counter. On play, up to one of your red characters with a cost of 1 gains 3000 power during this turn. So very similar effect to the Makino, except it's an on play rather than an activate main. So that means the Makino you can get off multiple times if it lives. The Magura is just a once off, and it can buff everything else that we just saw. The last character that we are running that is technically helped to use buff, but also sometimes just used as a counter, we are running 4 of the Brook from the starter deck. So 2 cost, 3000 power, 2000 counter. On play, give up to 2 rested Don to one of your leaders or characters. So Brook's great to just get an extra body on board for free, essentially. So you're playing the Brook out, you pop the Don under, say, the Zoro or one of your other characters, you're swinging, you're not wasting your Don or when it comes to that attacking side of things, and you're getting a body on board. Before we move on to the next lot of characters, the Magura, the one in the middle here, is another one that you can drop one of those Luffys for to add a playset of. Next, we're going to have a look at the cards that help us with board control, some removal stuff. The first is the Vista. So 3 cost, 3000 body, 1000 counter. On play, KO to one of your opponent's characters with 3000 power or less. Now these vistas here, these 4 cards are 4 of the 7 cards that are not searchable off our searches, so just keep that in mind as you play along there. The next removal card that we are running 4 of the Nico Robin from set 1, so 3 cost, 4000 power, 1000 counter. Don times 1 when attacking, KO up to one of your opponent's characters with 3000 power or less. So very similar effects there. Robin's just one that you have to attack to activate, which means you can activate multiple times, where the Vista is just a once off, but it is an instant. Next removal card that we are running 3 Jet Pistols. 4 cost, activate on main, KO one of your opponent's characters with 6000 power or less. That clears pretty much every blocker in the game except for the 7-drop Kid, which is not seeing a whole lot of play. But you may be wondering how we're going to remove those bigger bodies, those 10-drop, 9-drop, 8-drop cards that have fairly high power. Well, next we're going to have a look at a few cards that can help us to reduce our opponent's character's power, so we can easily clear anything with the Jet Pistol and make the Robin the Vista be able to clear most things that you'll be faced with. So the first card that helps us reduce some power is Otama. So Otama is a 1 cost, no power, 2000 counter, great to have in hand just for that fact there. On play, give one of your opponent's characters minus 2000 power for the turn. So this in combination with the Jet Pistol, you're killing something that's 8000. 2 of them killing something that's 10,000, and so on and so forth. And 10,000, it's most big characters out there. If you have a 3rd Otama, you're killing anything that you will face there. The next card that we are running with some DP reduction is the Gordon, the promo Gordon. So it's a 1 cost, 2000 power. Activate main, you may place this card at the bottom of the owner's deck. Give up to one of your opponent's characters minus 3000 power during this turn. So Gordon and Jet Pistol is killing anything that's 9,000. 2 Gordons and a Jet Pistol is killing anything that you're going to face. So you can quite easily remove things, which is super nice to have that control in a deck that's fairly rush orientated. And most of the time you're either removing something big or you're removing a blocker so you can swing full game. The final card that we're running in the deck, and it doesn't really fit into any of these categories. Well, in fact, it actually fits into all the categories, which is why we haven't paired it with any of them. That is the Edward Newgate, the super rare from set 2. So 9 cost, 10,000 body, no counter. On play, you can give your leader 2,000 buff until the start of your next turn. So which means Zoro is 7,000 through your turn that you play the Newgate and your opponent's turn, which can mess up their maths a bit, give you an extra turn to survive, which is all that you may need to be able to win the game. The other part of the effect is there. Don times 2 when attacking, KO up to one of your opponent's characters with 3,000 power or less. So as you can see, it does a bit of everything. It helps buff, it's a bit of defensive thing, it helps with removal, and it's a 10,000 body. It's naturally going to be nice and aggressive there. Newgate is the other card that's not searchable from our searches. So also keep that in mind there as well. Sometimes I'm mulligan to make sure I have a Newgate in hand, especially like going into something like Whitebeard or something that's going to have just big bodies that I need to know I can safely get over. And this is another one of those cards you can drop that Luffy for to play 4 of, which I see in a bunch of decks as well. And in most matchups, you're not really wanting to see multiple. Newgate's probably the only one that you want to see multiple in. Multiple definitely does help in all the other matchups, but I don't feel like it's as necessary, which is why I'm only running 3. If you get enough rush and other things going on against those other matchups, you're usually in a fairly good position there. Alright, there is the deck in all of its glory. Thank you so much for checking out the deck profile. Let us know what you think. Are you playing something similar if you're a Zoro player? What are you going to do differently? Give us your feedback. We love hearing it. And let us know what other decks you want to see profiled here on the channel. But thank you again so much for checking out the video. Stay beautiful, and we'll see you all in the next one.